Hello there. Right, what we have here is basically what we did with the wipeout set, if you've watched that already. We're going to start doing some colouring in. Okay, so first up, I'm going to save this as my workbench. Now what I've done is I've deleted everything in the scene that I've built, okay, because we're kind of going back in time to ye oldie goody old days. And I'm going to separate these two pieces off, just for the moment. Then there. And for this piece here, just press F4. I'll delete that part and that part. As you can see, it's made out of quite a lot of little elements, this one, so okay. Now get rid of these excess pieces. Because what we're going to do is, now we know how it looks when it's all assembled anyway, I'm going to get rid of some of the parts we're not using and do some texture work. Drop into perspective, zoom. Okay, and here. Like that. Okay, bear with me by the way. I actually hope I don't lose my voice whilst I'm recording this. That would be a little bit problematic. Okay, now down here we have the cannon, so I'll bring that over to there. And what I'm doing really is just kind of separating out these parts as I need them. So it's going to make things a tiny bit easier for me. There we go. Didn't quite get all those. Okay, now try it. Nearly. Okay, and over here with this one. Okay, just separating these parts out like so. And what I'm going to do as well is just detach this section as landing area, like so. Alright, now this means we can actually go in and start doing some stuff. So, what I want to do, and I've been asked nicely off Bertie, is not to use V-Ray, but instead to use Mental Ray for this. So I'm going to use Mental Ray's architecture and design materials, because I like them. So first things first, just going to make sure my renderer is set as my Mental Ray one. It's not as much fun, but for you people who don't have Mental Ray, I imagine it makes a nice difference. Okay, now what we need to do is find some materials we can use. So if I go to here, where it says standard, go to my arch and design, and let's find a good template we can use. Now as you see, we've got several in here, kind of basics, including some metals. That brushed metal's quite a good one. Metal. Brushed metal. Just stick a back plate on that so I can see it better. A little bit too reflective, possibly. Let's try a slightly lower reflection. That's slightly better. And the glossiness can probably be dropped as well. At 0.6. That should do it. Right, what colour have we got in the reflection map? We've got brushed metal grain, which is a noise. Okay, I'm fine with that noise map being in there. Alright, so what I'm going to call this one then is our basic metal things. Now, let's see, we could do with some pipes being different colours and things, so 3ds Max actually has a fairly good boring metal. So, material library. Let me see. I don't want to use that. Architecture and design again. Bear with me. And over here I'm going to go and grab... Now you see this satiny metal is really... ugh. So we'll go for copper, which is far too bright as you can see, but that's okay, we can darken it down. Take out some of this saturated colour to make it a lot darker. Change the reflection on it. Bit less. We can also change it so it's a slightly more greasy reflection perhaps, so I'll add some noise into this. And on noise I'm going to make this kind of a dark grey, lighter grey. See how that looks. Not bad. About there. That should about do it. These large preview windows really screw you up. It might be a good idea to reduce the size a little bit. There we are. Okay, let's just check the glossiness. Yeah, that looks fine. Reflectivity. Could do with a little bit of a change, possibly. A little bit too dull now. Slightly better. I better change the colour on this if I'm doing it that way. Slightly better. Alright. This will be useful for metal work. And I close that down. Oop. Now then, we could do with some kind of masonry jobs going on here. So, what I'm going to do is, again, go for an architecture and design. And let's have a look and see what masonry type things we've got here. Well, we don't really want bricks, because that's going to make things a little bit awkward. But we could go for rough concrete, or we could go for a polished concrete. And I quite like polished concrete. The only thing that gets me with it is the colour's a little bit dark. Also, I don't like the fact that we've got to have a noise map in here. So what I'm going to do instead is change this to a secondary noise. Discard the old map. And if I keep these fairly close to each other, like that, a bit less. Now we should have a slight bump. Let's see. If I knock our diffuse down into our let's check this bump map, just to add a slight sense of unevenness to it. This gives us general masonry. Okay, now over here we could do with some detail areas. So we've got our metal work and our pipe work and all that kind of business. To see if there's anything else we need. Maybe highlights. Yes, highlights would be useful. So if we're using the kind of colour scheme we've gone for already with the FISAR style design, but let's keep some yellow. Pop in a fair specular here, just using a standard map. A bit there. Let me see. Maps. And I think that should probably do just as a basic highlight. Okay, let's look at this piece first. Let's come over here. What I'm going to do is use a UVW map on it, make it a box like that. Okay, first of all, let's apply general masonry to it. Just have a quick fast render on that. Right. Yep, that's fine. Now let's go in and have a look at some of this pipe work. So, select here, here and here. Here and here. I've accidentally deleted a piece, so hang on. That's better. Right, now I'll select these pieces. Just use my select tool for this. Okay. As you can see, there are quite a few pipes on this. Oops, a daisy. These pipes make up quite a lot of the detail, actually. There we are. Let's go down here. Do this one and this one. Okay, that should do it for the moment. And here we have metalwork. Let's apply it. Turn that off. Now let's have a look, and you should see that it's kind of standing out slightly more. That's our untextured. And that's our one with its simple pipe work and stuff. Obviously it's not lit yet. Okay, now let's move in. And we're going to do some struts. So it's quite useful to press F4 at this point, I think. Unfortunately, this is just very much kind of clicking and repetitive stuff, so this is why you're not getting much of an awesome conversation at the moment, for which I apologise. Although clicking stuff's good too. I like using this kind of fast method of applying procedural maps to this, because as you know, if you've watched the Wipeout ship set, it's very, very easy to then turn that into an unwrap by baking the texture out. This is the only piece I think that's going to throw any challenge at us for this section that I'm doing right now, so we'll just have to see how it does. Hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, and I'm going to click Grow. Nope, looks like it's going to be fine actually. Just got to go down here. Control Z. Trying to make sure I've got the bits I want selected. Okay, so this is all selected now. And what I'm going to do here is go over to this yellowy thing. I'll change it to a metal. Metals tend to look quite dull, which is ideal because that's what I want them to look. Might be better though if I change this off to a... let me see. Before I apply it, I want to get a decent material in here. I could use a car paint, but that's going to slow things down to the point of insanity. Let's see, we've got some satin, some brushed, some copper, and some patterned copper. Ew. Right, let's go for the colours here. There's some yellow. Change this colour here to yellow. Like that. Reflectivity down to 0.5. Slam that on there, maybe less. 0.35. Turn the glossiness. That's quite good. Yeah, about 0.38 perhaps. 0.33? Yep, 0.33. There we go. Anything else I need to change on this at the moment? Well, certainly not translucency. So basic highlight gets applied. Like so. Do a quick F9. Okay. Now over to here. Actually, I think this would probably be better off just as a standard. And let's see. I will crank that yellow back in. A little bit of reflectivity. Slap on a ray trace. Might be easier just using this as natural ray trace material, in fact. Okay, and maps, reflection, fall off, swap it around, darken this, do that there. Okay, that's much better. Let's see, because hopefully that'll stand out a bit more now. Because we don't want it massively reflective, because it's not a mirror. Okay, that's much better. It's going to highlight things a lot better as well. Okay, let's go over here. Apply that. Apply that at the top. Apply that for a slight colour difference. Back to these windows. Just apply that in. And there. Okay. Now over here. There we go. And for this back piece here, make this a different colour too. Okay, and zoom. Quick F9. Okay, not bad. Got some fair highlighting coming in now. Spectrum and zoom. Oops, wrong one. I'm do inside these pieces. Click ignore back facing. Just to stop us being here all week. Okay, now this part. All we're doing basically is recoloring parts just to add highlight. It's a bit like, I don't know if you ever painted miniature objects or anything like that. I mean, I haven't because I'm hopeless at it, but I've seen other people do it. And what they tend to do is kind of highlight areas they want to bring attention to by making them darker or slightly lighter than the surrounding areas. That way you don't have to rely on the lighting to do it for you. Okay, now over here. Alright, so we've got these pieces all selected out. See if there's anything else we need to do. No, just those ones. Open up our material editor, and we can apply either this nice bright yellow or that dark one. Let's apply this yellow. What the heck? There. See, that's all pretty, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. And we can adjust these pipes a little bit too. Just cut straight to the middle of them. Oh, I've done it again, selected by element. Never mind. There we go. Turn off ignore back facing. There we are. And let's apply that metal to them. I think what might be better actually for the windows, now that I think about it, is probably an illuminated material. So if I just go down here and make a white, stick it to a self-illumination of about 50, and we'll call that window. Because otherwise the place looks dead, you know, we don't want that. And yes, I can see that piece hanging in the middle of nowhere that needs to be removed. Okay. Let's just apply this. And delete that. So 4. Okay, that's fine. Right, now this piece here then. And for this piece, which is currently in invisible mode, let's apply this general material here. And then if I zoom in on it, it's quite easy for what I want really. Nice bit of yellow. This inside polygon here. I'm going to make a slightly darker colour. Grow this one out. Like so. Okay, turn that off. Have a look at it. Nice simple piece, but it works. Canon, zoom. Okay, I'm just going to apply our basic metal things to it. Then I'm going to highlight some areas. Basically to make the gun show up slightly better. Bring that over to... I'm going to take that off screen, just for the minute. Give me a chance to look at this. I don't want to turn that into yellow down there, I don't think. But maybe this one. Okay, just drag this across. And just apply those. It does give it a very pretty colour when you do that. Okay, let's just grab through. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Grow those out. And apply the yellow. Take our barrels, use the dark metal on those. Yeah, those ones. Let's see. Select that and there. Anything really that I want to kind of highlight and stand out a bit. I'll make the base darker. Okay, and that highlights our lovely cannon with its big yellow things. Now over to here. And we're going to apply our general all-purpose basic metal things to it. Now we've got some pipe work here, so straight into the pipes. For those I'm going to use metalwork. Now let's go to highlights, press F4. And clicking or back facing for this bit. There we are. I accidentally selected the wrong bit there. There we go. Okay, that's looking fine. So I'm going to apply my yellow highlight material to it. It's a very strong colour. You should always be slightly wary of what you're going to do with this kind of thing. Okay, now down here, where I've got this door and what appears to be a dead polygon, or verd. Let's kill this dead verd. There's another one. Let's just use this to sort out this piece. Okay, and grow those through, shrink them a little bit. Okay, apply the highlight. Something occurs to me that I just completely put the wrong highlight on, which is a real irritation. Never mind. I was thinking to myself, that doesn't look very yellow, does it? And it's because it doesn't look very bloody yellow, so I've got to go back and redo these. See, the thing is, the way I kind of philosophize in various different parts of sci-fi work is, if we're going to have a piece like this, where perhaps it's kind of a factory, you know, in the way that I'm viewing it, it could be a large factory unit or warehousing facility or whatever. If you've ever been to one, they don't tend to keep them too dark, so that people don't smash into things and end up suing them for vast sums of money. So you may be thinking to yourself, this is a bit of a bright colour, but think about it. Most warning signs are yellow. There we are. Got to be careful which part I select there. Good thing is that it'll make this part really stand out. Okay. As you can see, it's really standing out. Now then, we're going to use our windows. And apply the white to them. Okay. I'm going to apply the darker metal at the back here. Actually, no, I think I'll keep the other one on. There we are. So look down here, some rails. So I'll just zoom in on one of them specifically for the moment. Remember, you can use the whole bake and build your own textures method. So don't forget to use that. Okay, I'm going to grow these. You notice I haven't used my masonry kind of basic I've built a while ago, mainly because I don't really like it that much. Here's some more windows. Okay, and apply this white to them. Makes a big difference when you apply that kind of white, because it really brings some life back into this that otherwise it didn't have. Okay, next thing's next, as they say. I'm going to start reassembling these pieces together, really, because it's about time. Bring that over to there. And let's look at these. Okay, and I'd say that that is procedurally pretty much wrapped. Well, not wrapped, but, you know, painted on. Which means we can get ready to move on to the next bits. So, thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye for now.